it's going to be a fun one today, people. I have my kindred spirit today on Small Biz Bites. Let's get into it. Good afternoon. Welcome to Small Biz Bites. I'm Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. Oh, it's going to be a great Tuesday today because I have my kindred spirit with me. I tell you. Oh, Peggy, they are in for a good one today. They are
so when you say kindred spirit, they have no idea. The first time we talked, it was a 15-minute call that went 3 hours. So just grab your coffee, grab your whiskey, whatever it is, and just like buckle up because
this is going to be that one. So wherever you're tuning in from, let us know in the comments because again, we are streaming live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you happen to be on YouTube, by all means, you can like, share, and subscribe because we would love to keep you in the know with what we're doing over here. But I thought to myself, okay, so I'm going to tell the backstory. I'm going to tell it because it feels like we've been friends for, 30-something years, but it's been more like, a couple of weeks, maybe a month.
Yeah, 30-something days. I don't know.
So I'm on LinkedIn and I'm looking at truly growing a network of other photographers and creatives. And I thought, well, let me get out there. And, LinkedIn's always good with, you should connect with so-and-so and you should connect with so-and-so. And so I see Peggy's little picture over there. And I said, well, let me see what this is about. So I sent her a connection saying, hey, LinkedIn says that we should get connected. So I'm a photographer. You're a photographer. We have that in common. Why not? And then next thing I know, she's like, yeah, sure, let's have a conversation. And 3 hours later, we were doing all the things, having the conversation of our life. So before I get into letting Peggy tell us who she is, let's shout out to our community. Hello, Danny is tuning in. Hello, Danny. Hi to you. My mother is here. Hello, mother. Thank you for tuning in. Gotta love the family support. Gotta love it. So Peggy, let's do this because you are a small business owner. You are the Headshot Strategist, so photographer. We'll get to that. But tell us a few fun facts about you, Peggy McCartha, as I like to say.
So I always hate this question because I think I'm not that fun. I don't know. I got my first camera when I was 9 years old, and I've consumed my entire life with photography. So I'm afraid of Bigfoot, legit horrified of Bigfoot. I don't know.
Well, you're in California.
I know, but that guy follows me. Let me tell you. So my sisters are 9 and 11 years older than me, and when I was 4 or 5, the Bigfoot movie came out. And my sister was supposed to go to the movie with a boy, and my mom made her babysit me. So that meant she took me to the movie with me, bought me candy, and set me by myself so they could go do whatever teenagers do in the back. And I've been horrified of Bigfoot since. And I lived on the Navajo Indian Reservation. Lots of legends of sights of Bigfoot. Our kids, some of our kids live up in Santa Cruz area, and wouldn't you know, Bigfoot's in the woods there too. My whole life, this guy's followed me around. So,
I have to admit, now that you say that, I do recall when Bigfoot came out. It took me a while to realize that it wasn't real.
It is real. It is real, G. It is real.
Sasquatch is real. Because they had so many movies back then, and it would be these little clips.
And quicksand is real too.
Into woods. And I thought
any Gen Xer knows that quicksand is real too.
Huh. Right? We had some jacked up movies then. I mean, I have to. Okay, so like if I think about it, Freddy Krueger had me messed up for like a hot minute. Like a hot minute. Jason for a smidge, but then like after a while, it just became so ridiculous. I thought, well, at this point, y'all should know better. Like you should just know at this point. But Bigfoot was like awful. And then Children of the Corn.
Mhm.
That was creepy. And there was this other one that had like this guy, he was like a scarecrow and stuff. And he
Oh
was
yeah, I know
terrorizing
what you're talking
kids.
about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my parents were super religious, like culty religious, like, and so I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies, which made it worse because everyone at school was talking about these movies, and I would see and hear little things, and so it made it worse because I didn't get to watch them and realize how ridiculous they were. I only got the fear part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, well, at this point, horror movies nowadays, we have been there and seen it. Amityville Horror, though, that had me kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, the exorcisms and all of that stuff. I mean, Rosemary's Baby. It was some messed up stuff back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
It's just say 70s and 80s. Let me not even pretend like we were.
I know, right?
You were not a babe in the 90s.
I was having babies in the 90s. I don't know.
Like, that is not where we were. Shout out to our community. Hey, we have Spencer tuning in. Hello, Spencer. We also have Gary Jackson here. Hey, he said hello to everybody. He also says here, the leprechaun when he went to the hood. Okay, real talk, even to this day, Jeepers Creepers. Like that second one, I don't know. Something about watching that at night just absolutely still gets next to my heart. I cannot, like, it's one that I just won't watch. And I'm really surprised. I'm like, I'm a pretty, I'm kind of, but that Jeepers Creepers, ooh, it's like, I can't. Number 3 was like ridiculous, but number 2 was like mental.
See, I kind of like the mental ones. I don't like jump scares. Like it pisses me off. Like I jump or I go and I sound like an old lady and then it pisses me off. I'm like, it wasn't funny. It didn't really scare me. It was a jump scare. That was cheap. But I really like to really get into like mental, like really thinking about like,
yeah.
And it's always
Shyamalan. He did a great job, like the mental stuff.
Right.
That was his thing.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Everybody is saying hello. Oh, well, Danny says horror movies have never really scared me. Really? Never? Oh, wow.
I still like that movie Nope. Every time I'd see an advertisement, I tell my husband, nope. Nope.
That was good. Jordan Peele.
And then of course I watched it, and it was one of the best ones I've ever seen, to be honest. It was really good. Right. But literally every time I saw it, I was like, nope. And then of course he's like, come on, we're gonna go see a movie. And I was like, I'm gonna cry. I don't want to. And then I loved it. And that's how I do horror movies. Like I psych myself, because I didn't grow up watching horror movies, so I psych myself out. And then when I get there, either I'm the one in the theater laughing and I'm like, oh, you didn't, I thought that was funny. Or, but it's rare. Now I don't like the like supernatural stuff either. Again, raised in a cult, the supernatural stuff, I'm like,
yeah, it doesn't, that one doesn't really, I don't really do those. That's not really my cup of tea. Shout out to Ron Foster. Oh, you don't like horror movies? How are we even a couple? I don't understand. I'm starting to really second guess our relationship. I don't know. I'm really starting. Ron is he's my work husband. He's my first husband. He's my work husband. And lately we have just not been seeing eye to eye on that. I'm just not understanding.
You're growing separately. You need to find something new to bond over.
Something needs to change. I mean, okay, so Gary agrees. Jeepers Creepers, yes. Oh, Pet Cemetery. Now that one. Now I have to say this, and I'm gonna do a quick little side note here, Peggy. When I was reading the Stephen King books, Stephen King has a way of describing the scenes that as you're reading the book, if someone taps on the window, you are jumping.
Yeah.
But that movie, they did really well with that movie. That was a good one. I can get down with that one. That one and Maximum Overdrive had me messed up with 18-wheelers when I was a kid. I mean, hey, it was just, I don't know what that was about, but 18-wheelers who went on the run and like your lawnmower, like mowing you down. Technology, man, even before we had the Terminator, we had Maximum Overdrive. And so we were already thinking that technology would come.
Technology is going to, right? Technology is going to do it. Technology is going to get us. I mean, see, thank you. I laugh at, thank you. Thank you for laughing at horror movies. Because they're funny, right? Like most of the time, they're so ridiculous. You're like, I thought the previews, they put the previews, which is marketing, right? Isn't that just marketing? In the previews, they put all the scariest parts in a really scary way. And then when you watch the whole movie, you're like, that's actually fun. Yeah.
Like, this is it? Oh,
this is it. But that's like a good marketing lesson. Like I'm always thinking I'm always thinking marketing. Like, how can we market our business? How can we do that and get the same excitement and feel?
You know, and this is why you and I are two peas in the pod. Because my next question, as we went down this rabbit hole of movies, we haven't even really gotten to the conversation yet. But this is why I love chatting with Peggy. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. The whole point of this particular Small Biz Bites, funny enough, is not so much about Peggy per se, and she's, pardon me, mother, she's a badass chick. But it's about relationships and really getting to know people. And we will be dipping into that. But I do want to talk about why you are the Headshot Strategist. Can you explain that part real quick?
This is a really long story, so I'm going to do really as precise as I can. So I started my professional journey as a professional photographer in 1989. So I started off doing babies, families, weddings, you know, I was kind of a high-end portrait photographer. And about 15 years ago now, an actor, I live in Southern California, an actor said, hey, can you do my headshots? And I was like, of course I can do your headshots. I can do anything. I'm Peggy. And so the actor comes in, I do their headshots, and they come back and they're like, these are horrible. I can't use these. These are terrible. And I was like, literally no one had ever told me my work was terrible. Like, I could be a bit egotistical here, but like, I'm used to people like, oh my God, they're so beautiful and crying. And like, I'm used to that, but terrible. And I was like, these are beautiful. And they're like, yeah, but I need them for headshots. And I'm like, yeah, they're headshots. They're like,
it's a headshot.
I was like, and then I had another lady come in, same thing, actor, and I did her headshots. And she was like, kind of, there is no nice way to say it. She was kind of haggy looking. She was super wrinkly, no makeup. And so I was like, okay, I'll fix her. And I like retouched her up and made her look just beautiful. And she came in, and this is back in the day where you printed proofs and, you know, people actually, and she literally like wiped them off the table with her hand and said, these are horrible. You've ruined them. And I was like, she's like, I make money off of my wrinkles. What did you do? And I was like, well, my takeaway is I don't take headshots for actors. That was my takeaway. I was like, I don't work with actors. No, thank you. And, you know, so anyway, then I had a friend that was an actor, and she was like, hey, will you do it? And I was like, no, I don't act. And she's like, I'll help you. She kind of, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. I don't really get it. And so I took an acting class, a business acting class, to figure out what the heck was a headshot. Like, what is all the buzz about this headshot? And I was like, oh, you have to really portray emotion. And I used to think like a headshot, like anybody can do a headshot, like set, smile, bye. Like, yes. But instead, like, you've got this much to work with, and you've got to pull out all the emotion and all these things. And so then I started a podcast called Headshots by Peggy Presents. I don't do that podcast anymore, but the purpose of it was figuring out what made a headshot pop. I talked to industry leaders, and I was like, what do you see in headshots? And I was like, and I always said, you know, your headshot is the biggest part of your marketing strategy. It's for actors, what literally gets them in the door.
Yeah.
You know, casting directors look at like 1,000 plus little thumbnails and they have to click on you. You know, you have to. And so we work really hard with my actors, and we would get, you know, we'd have an actor come in and just really work hard to look like a powerful attorney. And then the next day I'd have an actual powerful attorney come into my studio and be like, cheese. And I got to thinking, we're missing something here. And I was like, business people, entrepreneurs, corporate people need to be using their headshot, because that's your first impression. They're going to see you on your website. They're going to see you in LinkedIn. They're going to see you on your website, whatever it is, your podcast, whatever it is. That's your first impression. And it's going to either repel or attract your ideal clients. So in studio, I started really talking to people, like, and, you know, they would come and we would kind of talk it out, and then we would take the pictures. And then the pandemic hit. And I found myself on Clubhouse. Who remembers Clubhouse?
If you know Clubhouse, put 100 in the comments.
Right? That was so fun for those months. I don't even know. Is Clubhouse even? I don't know. I'm not on Clubhouse.
It's still there, but I think it's not as poppy as it was.
But it was like, so it helped the pandemic pass by. But I was doing consultations and doing all these things. And then people are asking me to speak at their business conferences on marketing and all this. And I was at a business conference talking about marketing, and this guy says, "You're the headshot strategist." And I put on the fakest smile, and in my mind, I was rolling my eyes so hard. I was like, that is so stupid. Like, that is the dumbest thing anybody's ever said to me. Headshot strategist. And that night I was laying in bed, and I looked at my husband. I was like, you know, I am the headshot strategist.
Hey, if it works. And it
so
worked.
within 3 weeks, I had the name registered. I had a whole standalone program that I used. I have one for actors. I have one for entrepreneurs. I have one for HR departments in corporate offices, where we really sit down and figure out, who are your ideal clients? What do you want them to know about you? What are we going to do? How are we going to portray that? What colors do we need? What emotions do we need? And so then when they come into the studio, it's like, boom, like we're in and out, and we have like nailed it every time. And people started, when I tell you, this is like one of the few things that have ever just blown up in my life. And that was that headshot strategist thing. I had people from all over the world taking the headshot strategy session and then going to their photographer, you know, South Africa, Australia, New York, like you name it, all over. And it was hit or miss. You know, I would like, okay, so when you go see your photographer, don't go in and say, I need this. Say, hey, I was talking to this lady and these are the things. Like, you got to be, we can be a bit egotistical, right?
Just a
Somebody
little.
walks into my studio and tells me how to do my job. So it's like, don't do that. Just be gentle with them. And it was hit or miss. You know, people were either like super, you know, but at least they had the knowledge and they kind of felt prepared. But they kept saying, do you know any photographers in my area? And I was like, I don't know any photographers. Like, and I thought, you know, that's really sad. I don't know any photographers.
And I'm a photographer.
So I was like, you know what? I'll do a webinar. For photographers, and I'll teach them, you know, the basics of this and let it go. And the webinar quickly turned into this like 26 course program that teaches business, branding, networking, and photography skills and how to get emotions with camera angles and lighting and posing and everything. So yeah, I fell on it. It was the pandemic. The pandemic did it.
Here's the deal. A lot of people have come into their own because of situations with the pandemic. Personally, it was time for a shakeup, right? It was time for a shakeup. And for a lot of us, it has worked out very well. We have a lot of comments about you, Peggy. Okay, so Ron says, you know, actress and singers are special beasts.
They're special.
Gary believes that you should definitely toot your own horn. Go ahead. I don't mind. Yes, we like to do a lot of horn tooting over here at Small Biz Bites. We do, we do a lot of horn tooting. That's what we do here. Clearly, and Gary is also active on Clubhouse. I'm 50-50. I had to get up early to do it. But I mean, it is still.
Are you still on Clubhouse? Is Gary still on Clubhouse right now?
Gary, you're still on Clubhouse, right? You can put it in the comments and let us know.
I'll have to re-download the app.
And Ron was giving comments as you were speaking. Again, your story, it's really about timing. I know a lot of us want to get out and just win the race. He says, yes, he is. He is very active. Okay, there it is. You have to re-download the app.
Okay. All right.
But a lot of us forget that for business, it's a long game. It is a long game. It is not this. I'm a long distance runner, right? So I'm good for marathons, half marathons. I love a 10K. Sprinting, but business it's the long game.
It's a long game.
I mean, for where you were clearly doing well. And I don't want to say you fell into it, but it kind of worked out for you. But then when 2020 happened, and I'm going to use the word, you pivoted, but it worked out for you. It worked out for you.
And as cringy as it is, it's true. You have to pivot. Like if you don't pivot. So I have this thing when people get all weird about their age, like, oh, I'm this old, or lie about their age. I'm like, the option of not getting older is dying. Like I'm 52 and a half and I feel like I'm rocking it. Like I'm loving this age. This is the best age that I've ever been. Like I love it. My husband, however, he's like, what? I play 40 to 50. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's why I pick on actors so much. I am married to an actor, so yeah, there's that. They are very special.
Well, we love a good sidebar. We love a good sidebar here at Small Biz Bites. What is your go-to lens for headshots? The people want to know.
People want to know an 85 millimeter. So I shoot Sony. I say that the best tool is the tool that's in your hand, the tool that you're comfortable with. But we all know Sony's really the best.
Oh, Peggy, don't come here starting no stuff now. Don't come here starting no stuff.
I shot Nikon for years when I shot film. And I went digital a little earlier than most of my colleagues. I went digital in 2002. My studio got broke into and I lost all my equipment, and I had a big old fat insurance check. And I was like, when am I ever going to have this much money to reinvest? I might as well go digital now. So I went digital in 2002, which is pretty early. And everybody thought it was crazy. Like all my colleagues were like, oh, it's the end of photography. If you go digital, there's no use for photography anymore. It's a lot, all the things that we're hearing now about another subject. It's a tool, folks. It's a tool. But anyway, so yeah, I went Sony then, and because at the time they were the leader. And then, I rode through the dark years of Sony when people were like, "Did you get that at Radio Shack?" For some of you young folks who don't know what Radio Shack is, that was an insult. It was a dig. But yeah, and then now, of course, they're back on top of their game. But if I joke about whose camera is the best, it's not a joke. It's just a joke.
Oh well, yeah, but
you've got to know how to use it. But my go-to headshot lens is an 85 millimeter. It's a Sony, the Alpha, whatever, and it's a beautiful lens.
Well, Ron is Team Nikon. Ron's Team Nikon here.
I love
Team. Gary's Team Canon. But I miss Radio Shack. It was the place to be for a hot minute.
Place to be, like our whole childhood, our whole and into our adulthood.
I know, it's crazy. And shout out to my brother who is showing up, Black Eighth Element. Little side note here, because we love to give everybody the flowers. He created the beat that we are using. So shout out to him. You know, he does, you know, I like to say, bruh, I need something that is license free. So can you hook a sister up? Can you do it for us, please? Now, since we're talking about community and people who like to say like what they do, here is the thinker question of the hour. Our society appears to be obsessed. Okay, appears is just being really, really kind with numbers, followers, and friends. What are you doing to create genuine relationships?
Well, I love this question because if I had 10,000 followers and I only talked to 5 of them, then really what does that number do for me?
Right.
And if I had 10,000 followers and I'm trying to reach professional photographers and only 3 of them were professional photographers, then what good is that? So I really think that the more we are really specific and really hone in on who we're trying to talk to and then build relationships. AI, automation, all of those things are amazing. I love using all those tools. I use all of those tools, but nothing replaces the actual human connection. As soon as I was so happy that when I got your message on LinkedIn, and what was the first thing I did? I was like, let's talk. Here's my calendar. Let's talk. And I know I freak people out when I say that because, you know, I do. I'm always like, let's talk. I meet people when I'm out, when I'm working events, and this is cheesy. I'm going to tell you how cheesy I am. I don't know if you can see. Okay, so because now I've got my whole life. There you go. I have a QR code on. Okay, somewhere. I have a QR code on my watch band, and so and it takes you right to a text message to text message me. So when I'm like, hey, I want to connect. Here's my business card. Nobody remembers business cards. And if I give you my contact, you're going to forget who I am. But if you text me, then tomorrow I can be like, it is so good to meet you yesterday at XYZ event. Here's my website. Here's my calendar. Let's connect. Because I'm so tired of the whole like, oh, I'll follow you on Instagram. Okay.
Right.
I'd rather you buy something from me or be my friend.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things I want from you. Either be my friend or buy something from me. Like, I don't need you to follow me on social. I mean, you can't follow me on social media. I definitely need you to follow me on social media, but
yeah.
but at the end of the day, like, what is it if we're not doing something? And so I have started because I told you, you know, I made this program and I'm bound determined to build an amazing community of professional photographers that help each other because we're not each other's competition. Even photographers here in LA, we're not each other's competition. There are 4 million people in Los Angeles. And let's give it a good let's say there's 1,000 good photographers that are on the same, you know, level. Let's say there's 1,000 of us. We're not each other's competition.
Oh,
so many people. I have a different style. I have a different personality. As charming as I think I am, there's probably some people that don't like my personality. And it's weird. But
you know, like, how can they not like you? Like, are you serious right now?
I think there's like 2 or 3 that just are like, you're too much, Peggy. And I invite them to go find something less. Like if I'm too much, that's completely fine.
I know I'm too much. I am a jagged little pill. I tell you that right now. Like it's not, we are not for everybody. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. It's okay. Perfectly
and I don't want to work with the people that aren't, I'm old enough now. I've been doing this long enough. I know what it's like to be stuck in my studio for an hour with somebody that I can't stand.
See, I don't go that far. No. No.
That's why I don't go that far. Now, like we know each other before we get there. And if I know you don't like me, guess what? I have this photographer friend down the street. His name's Scott. He'll probably, you guys maybe gel. Why don't you go? I have this other photographer friend over here. Why don't you see? Because why wouldn't I send them to someone that I already know and help them versus like suffering? Because not all money is good money.
Girl, you know what, Peggy? See, that's what I'm talking about. Because you and I both know that yes, do we need to pay our bills and do things?
Absolutely.
Yes. Is it worth the headache? Absolutely not.
Because you know what happens? When you think all money is good money, then you start losing your passion for what you do, and it shows. And then you're no longer attracting the ideal clients that you want to work with because they're like, ew, you sound sour.
Oh my goodness. The comments are coming in like so fast. Hey, hello, Team Cannon. That's what I'm talking about.
Whatever.
Team Cannon. That's where we are. Amari said Sony. Okay, so you have a fellow friend in the crowd. Danny's talking about Radio Shack. It was the place.
It was.
And it's okay. Some of us, we feel good about the age. I've rounded up. I am now 50 years old, although technically I am not. I've already left the 40s.
Well, welcome to half a century old, because it feels good here at half a century.
It feels great. Oh, Ron said yes. It was the Geek Shack. He did say that. Yes, he did. Yeah. He did say that. Gary is saying that I heard business cards are dead. You know, here's the deal. Real talk. That idea of putting your QR code on your watch, very smart. Like I have mine on my phone where they could just do it, but I like how it goes to a text message. I may have to snatch that, Peggy. I'm gonna have to snatch it.
So in full disclosure, I have more. I have that one. That's my little, and I have this one that goes to my website, and then I have one that goes to my community for people to sign in if I meet a photographer. Right. The reason that I put it on my watch is because when I don't do a lot of events, but when I do, I usually network at them. Like I'll do red carpet events. Well, actors are my ideal clients, so yeah. I'm networking. And when I'm shooting an event, it's busy and I don't have time to and I don't ever have my cell phone on me. Really? I have my harness, I have my camera, I have batteries, you know how it is.
Yeah. You know what? I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
And this last weekend I did, one of the theaters here had their summer playwrights festival. I shot 12 plays, red carpets and plays, like the last 10 days. So lots of shooting. And people are like, how do I get those pictures? And if I was like, you probably my ideal client. I'd be like, here, I'll send it to you because it timestamps and I can look and kind of figure out. And I remember, I'm pretty good at remembering like, okay, that's the person that asked me for the, thing. And this one guy, he was like, this is a text message. And I go, yeah, text me. And tomorrow I'll send you your picture. And I mean, there's like tons of people. And he was like, well, I don't understand. And I was like, literally push send. Like that's
the text message.
I don't understand what you don't understand about text messaging, sir. It's 2023. But I could tell he was like quite taken by this. He's like, do you have a business card? I'm like, yep, it's in my camera bag. Here, scan this. I gotta go.
Here's the deal though. And QR codes are free. So it's not like you can't make one for every single thing. Like I love that idea. And I also like how Danny is still rocking a Rolodex. Now, are we going there? Are we going to try to go down?
I'll step back. I'll just step back. I have my daughter's hand-me-down. I'll step back.
We have a lot. I mean, we have so much going on in here. But yeah, people do have their QR codes. Like Gary has his in his phone. I know I have a couple as well. Ron is loving you, Peggy. This is where it is. People love Canon, and more importantly, they are loving Loving our conversation because Peggy, you are just that chick. Like when I get out to California,
You have to stay at our house. You're not allowed to stay in a hotel.
What's going on here?
You're not allowed to stay in a hotel. When you come out here, you have to stay at our house, and we can just plan on not sleeping because.
Oh, girl, yes, we already know. And Ron, okay, oh, here's another one. Ron has it as his lock screen. I like that. Oh my goodness, this is great. Oh, yeah. Erica is here. She can only comment on LinkedIn. Yay. You know, here's the deal with. I love LinkedIn. I really do. And this is one of those where sometimes you invite folks to come over to YouTube. I can't. Oh, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? And she is Team Fuji all the way.
Team all Fuji. Right, I can respect that.
Everybody got Sony, Nikon, Fuji, Canon, and she loves the QR code on the watch.
Does anyone know what this is? No. I'm not gonna tell you. Put it in the comments if you know what this is.
Peggy doing all the things today, y'all. She's doing all the things today.
Think about the last comment. This is your hint.
Is that like a little Fuji box? Is that like a little?
It is a Fuji film, an old Fuji film cover that's been made into jewelry.
Look at you.
So when I shot film, I shot Fuji film because, hello, it was like the most dynamic skin tones you could get in film. Probably still is. I don't know. I don't shoot film anymore. But my best friend's friend was at an art show and saw this and got it for me. Aww. And we weren't that close, and this wasn't cheap. So I was like, wow, like, that's so sweet. But she had no way to know that I used to shoot Fuji film. And so it was just like she said, I saw that and I just had to get it for you. And I was like, the universe is working for my good because I love this.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Because it's like a little like memorabilia. Anyway, I know. This is why you and I talk for hours every time we get on.
Trust, I know, right? Like we got so much going on here. Gary said that guy was probably not your ideal client.
Yeah, probably not because you couldn't figure out it.
She said,
you'll have my phone number. What if you text me? What will I do?
Eric just said, I read Rolex, not Rolodex. We are talking about the Rolodex. Oh my God. Okay. So everybody, if you're just tuning in, because my God, it's already been more than 30 minutes, Peggy. Lord bless. What can I tell you? We are chatting with Peggy McCartha, the Headshot Strategist, today here on Small Biz Bites. We're talking about relationships, right? And I want to know, I know you said it, but for those who are just tuning in, because you mentioned that human connection makes the difference. You want to dive a little bit deeper into that?
I absolutely do. I honestly believe that we are who we hang out with. I mean, I think that it's so important. The people that we surround ourselves with are so important. I know when I was a kid, my parents were self-employed. I grew up in an entrepreneurial life. Like I don't understand the 9-to-5 concept. Like I don't understand it. I don't know why anybody would do that. But when I was growing up, my dad would say, you know, the whole dad talks, how you act and how you behave. And my dad was always like, I don't want you. Well, what if your friends did this? And well, so I didn't do it. And he's like, but you're guilty by association. And then he would bring that up into different things all throughout, like guilty by association. If your friends are intelligent, you're guilty by association. People are going to assume you're also intelligent. My dad always said, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Never be the smartest person. Always don't ever be afraid to hire someone smarter than you because they're going to make you look better. And so my whole life, like I surrounded myself with people that were smarter than me, better than me. And I never felt intimidated by that because if you're in that same room, then you're in that same room, and it's so important to pick people. And I think it's so easy to just, get all excited about numbers and get all excited, but build those relationships. This is why every chance I get, like, I talk to G a lot. I'll like message, and I'm like, because I'm really picky who I hang out with. I'm kind to everyone, but my friend circle is really small. And G is absolutely my friend. You can't leave. Like, you didn't have a choice. Like, I'm like, I'd stole you. But yeah, it's so important. And we have to think about it as a relationship and actually nurturing. I'm not naturally good at, being the first one to call or being the one to follow up because I spent so much time just kind of on my own. And I have a few people in my life that are really good at just like, hey, how's your day today, Peggy? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to be that person that makes someone's day because I'm the annoying one that's like, just thinking about you. Have a good, carry on. That's it. You don't have to reply. Just know, thinking about you.
Right?
Just
nothing in return. Just thinking about you.
Just so you know, I'm thinking about you. And it's those things that really, really, seeing someone's post and taking the time to comment on that. Why? Because I want you to know that I took the time to read your post or listen to your post because you matter to me. So what you have to say is important.
Yes.
And so, I just think it's so important that we really think about who we are, and really we can design our life by designing our relationships.
Right. My mama always said, be careful about the company you keep and also who comes into your house. But that's a separate conversation right there.
Well, it's true though. I started my photography business in the late 80s, early 90s. And I was in a very abusive, terrible relationship. And I think about how I never reached my full potential in that, and then I left that relationship to another terrible relationship. And then when I finally got out of that, I spent 10 years saying, nope, I'm just hanging out with me. I'm gonna find me. And that's when my business lined up. That's when an actual amazing person came into my life. It wasn't until I made room for that and really realized that when I'm with people that are not good and not healthy and not stable, my business isn't good, isn't healthy, isn't stable. My finances aren't good, not healthy, they're not stable. So that's, I think, a better way to answer that question is why relationships are important, because they affect every single area of our life. They are going to affect your career, because if you're miserable in your relationships, in your friendships even, it's going to affect how you show up for your career and show up for yourself.
Right. Oh my goodness. You know what? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why we never really get through a lot of stuff, because we get to talking and running down all the rabbit holes. But here is not a sidebar, because that's coming, but it's a rabbit hole. Threads. What's your thought on threads? I mean, it's still very new, but it is a chance to get into some conversations with people and perhaps learn more about people. What's your thought on it? Real quick.
So, I was never big into the other app that it replaced.
Never Twitter person? Oh.
I was never into that. And as soon as it changed ownerships, I was like, that's my excuse. Bye. I was out. I was like, not having anything to do with this show. I am like I don't need the drama. I'm good.
Girl.
So when Threads came up, I was like, nope, not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And the same day that it came out, I did it. I'm like, all right, here I am. I really held out, you guys. Ooh, I'm there. And I did it on an Instagram account that is for my Headshot Strategist, which I have like 20 followers or something. So I started Threads with like 20 followers.
There you go.
So I was like, let's just, see what happens here. And I've really had fun commenting and building relations, because I'm like, all I'm doing is searching out other photographers. Yeah. And I'm not having to look at the other things. I'm like, they don't know any more than me. They're not better at this than me. Because sometimes I deal with that whole I'm not good at this thing. And I know it's self-talk, and I know I'm not supposed to do it. I'm working on it. I'm getting better. I am a badass. Life is easy. I say all this.
I'm trying to tell you, Peggy. I'm trying to tell you.
But really, like, sometimes I have that, like, but I'm like, hey, we're all at ground zero here. Like, I don't know what works. Let's try this.
It's about conversations. Like Twitter was
talk about this.
Yeah, it was my space, and like I said, something shifted even before Alon got there, and it just became like this space for miserable people who were just unhappy with life. And I thought, I gotta go. But I'm a soapbox kid. I don't need much. I don't even need. No one has to really be there. I will take my megaphone. I will speak my piece and keep it moving. And like. So whatever I'm sharing on Threads is not being shared on other places, because it really is it's about conversation for me.
But the other thing that I like about Threads is that it's not anonymous. I'm sure people will make fake Instagram accounts and still try to get there. But right now you have to already have an Instagram account. You have to already have people that know you, probably even in person. So you're not out there. It's going to make it a little difficult to just be a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. That's my thought. I'm sure people will find work around.
That's an interesting point. We'll have to see. I mean, we always talk about using your guest filter. Like, we all use a guest filter.
Yeah.
I mean, like everybody. But I am still very authentic in what I talk about. Lately, it's been about the heat, my husband doing whatever my husband does, and then just things we kind of see, like, like normal ramblings in my head. Like, have you guys noticed blah, 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 blah. And speaking of ramblings, sidecar. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually that's a cocktail. But that goes right in line with where we are, people. This is how we do. All right. So, favorite cocktail or liquor?
Okay, so first of all, I haven't yet tried the liquor from your podcast you had a while back. I'm going to order that.
In California.
I'm going to order that.
I got to send you a bottle because I'm
all right. So but right now, and I've changed a lot. I don't know, but right now, my favorite whiskey is this whiskey that's called Pendleton, like a Pendleton blanket, but it's called Pendleton. It is so smooth. It's just yummy. Like, it's really yummy. Anyway, I'm a whiskey drinker.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I pretty much straight whiskey, but every once in a while, really? Have like a ginger beer and Maker's Mark or something like that. But
Maker's Mark is good. Are you not into wine at all? Is there no wine in the house?
Oh, my husband's into wine. My husband's the wine. Red wine. There is red wine in our house.
Okay. He said, yes, there's red wine.
I have this crazy health issue. I have lymphedema. We won't go into that. You can find all about that at YouTube. But anyway, one of the things that triggers flare-ups for me is wine. So I can't drink wine. Whiskey doesn't bother me. How awesome. I have no idea what happened to me. None.
I don't know what happened to you either. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we can still see you. Well, no, I can still hear you.
You're just going to have to listen to me, I guess. I don't know what happened there. That was super weird.
Maybe it'll flick itself back.
Maybe it will.
Well, I will say this. We do have a question. Okay. I want to dip into your podcast. And so hey! It's like,
I don't know.
Hold up. Since you mentioned your YouTube, I do want to talk about, because you're also a podcast host.
I am. And I don't know what's happening with.
Don't know what's happening over there. We don't know what's happening over there. We're gonna figure it out. Let's see here. There we go. It's a little technology for you.
And had I known you were going to pull up a screenshot of my YouTube, I would have went. My YouTube feels like when I walk into my teenager's room. My YouTube is not as organized as it should be. This is actually like the top looks like, yes, that's right. But the bottom is actually my old podcast that I haven't done for like a year and a half.
Okay.
The current podcast is called Time Bender Talks.
Okay.
And you can find it on all the places, like, you know, all the podcast places, Spotify and all that. But it's also on YouTube podcast. And you were one of my favorite guests, of course, on my podcast. So if nothing else, go listen to the episode that you and I did. That would be really fun. You should definitely do that.
We had a really good time. Like I literally, I reached out for one thing, and then next thing I know, you were like, "You gotta be on the podcast." I was like, "Yeah, sure, you can do mine too, yeah." But truly, truth be told, you do have a lot of great information, which is why we wanted to bring you here, because you have been dropping the gems. I told you myself when we were just talking, I was like, Peggy, every time I leave with something new. It's like, what? Like that whole QR code thing, brilliant. And Gary says that he loves an old fashioned, as do I, and that you can adopt him to be your friends.
Okay.
Very
I'll find you on Clubhouse.
He is also going to subscribe and listen to your podcast as well. And it's really good because I have listened to other, clearly, like I said, when I work at night, I put on your podcast and a few others because I just want to listen to things as I'm working versus playing music or something else. And so I get a lot of great info from your podcast as well.
So the podcast is designed for professional photographers. It talks about business, it talks about marketing and branding, it talks about networking, and of course, photography, right? Don't know why.
Don't worry about it.
So because every time, like I've been doing this forever, and every time I've taken a business class, every time I've listened to a podcast or a webinar, I've had to, like, in my mind convert, okay, how could I use this for photography? Like some things apply, some things don't, sometimes things you have to maneuver it. So this is all for professional photographers. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not a photographer, you're still going to get good stuff out of this, but you got to do the math. You got to figure out how it applies to you.
I agree with that.
Just like we've been doing for years.
Oh yeah, still great info in there. And since we're talking about your podcast, you also are making a community for photographers because you have that love. Tell us about that.
So it is called Time Benders. So first, if you go, I'm trying to decide, should I tell them why Time Benders or should I make them go and listen? Because if you go play this video, it says why Time Benders and the explanations there.
Great video too, by the way.
Clickbaits, right? It's an interactive video. It is so cool. It is so cool. You should go just to check out.
Yeah,
just to check out the video. Technology, man, I'm telling you. Yeah. And let me tell you, interactive videos are not easy to make. They look easy and they're fun, but you gotta,
it was perfect. I shouldn't say
I had a notebook. I was like, it was a thing. But you should, just for that, just to watch my video, you should go. But let me tell you why I have the community. So in 1989, I interned with an amazing wedding photographer in Oklahoma. His name was Kevin Hurtlebrink. And every Friday, him and about 5 other photographers had breakfast. And at that breakfast, they literally client swapped. They were like, hey, I've got this baby coming in. I hate babies. You want babies? You know, and they would and not only that, they were like, hey, I'm having problems with this lab. Do you have any other recommendations? Hey, I'm doing this. Or, hey, my studio is going to be under construction. Can I use your studio on this day? And so this was my first experience with professional photographers. So in my naive little mind, I assumed that's how photographers were everywhere. I was so excited to be a part of this amazing group. And I was so glad that I chose this to be my career. I'm like, I am one of the elite cool people. I wasn't ever allowed to talk. Kevin was, now we would call it abuse and it would be an HR problem. But he was like, I was this 18-year-old kid. He's like, you can come, but don't talk. You can watch me, but don't talk. I literally and you can see what not talking, how hard that was for me.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine
why he made that rule, right? We all understand why he made that rule. But anyway, So then I went out on my own and I realized photographers weren't like that.
Yes. Yeah.
They were like catty and like nasty and like undercutting and ugly. And I was like, what?
Gatekeepers.
Maybe this is California photographers.
Yes.
Everywhere else in the world, nope. I just happen to be in this wonderful little bubble. So anyway, like I've said before, I don't believe that we're each other's competition. I just don't at all believe we're each other's competition. And 2008, the economy crashed.
Yeah.
At the same time, everyone got a camera that they carry with them. At the same time, the DSLR cameras became affordable for Uncle Joe to go buy and shoot your wedding for $100. And all of a sudden, Uncle Joe's my biggest competition. Why is Uncle Joe my biggest competition? He doesn't have any training. He certainly doesn't have 35 years of experience. He certainly doesn't know any laws or copyrights or anything to protect you. He knows nothing, but yet he's my biggest competition. Why? So this community is a place where my vision, I want to change the world, just small stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to draw that line in the sand where people know the difference between Uncle Joe and a professional photographer, and people know the value that professional photographers bring. And I want professional photographers to be encouraged. You don't know how many people, because I've been looking, connecting with photographers. You don't know how many people are just phenomenal. And they still, well, I'm not that good yet. And I'm like, are you kidding? I wish 15 years ago I was that good. Are you kidding me? I was brought up on film. Like, it cost me money every time I click that button. Nowadays, like, you can click all day, all night. You can learn so fast. The learning curve is so much faster now. So anyway, that's why the community, it's just starting. It's just brand new. It's a baby. And G's just signed up today. So you can hang out with her. We've got clubhouse style room in there where we can get on and voice talk. We've got DM room in there. We've got a place to, I call it the Time Bender Public Park. That's where you can tell jokes, show pictures of daisies that you took or whatever. I say daisies. So if you post a daisy,
the photographers have some jokes. We have some jokes,
right?
We have some
jokes.
I got a phone call. What's your budget? $150. Ha ha ha! You're so funny.
And I also have a room in there called Shh. And the reason that room exists is because I'm a TikToker, so I'm on TikTok a lot. And these photographers are making TikToks bashing their clients. Now, I think their stuff is hilarious. Like, they are so creative about making fun of their clients, but I'm not their ideal clients.
Yeah.
I think they're funny, but if I were looking for a photographer and I saw a photographer talking that way, I would be too embarrassed. Like maybe I'll say something wrong. I don't know. Right? Maybe they're going to make fun of me. So I've got a room that you can bash your clients. We can all relate. We can all laugh.
We all have something to say.
We can cheerlead you on.
Everybody.
We can tell you that it's okay. We can cry with you. And then you can go out and put your face on. And like, there's even a room for that. There's even a room to just like, oh my God, can you believe I did a wedding and the groom told me, he's like, get me food. You're just the hired help. I was like, dude, I made more today than you made last week. Probably last month. Telling me I'm the hired help.
Let me put this out there. Ron says the photographer community is extremely giving or extremely selfish. We have met those people. We have met them. He also says that he loves creating community. That's definitely his thing.
Well, come hang out.
Yeah, that was my next question. The link. Okay, so it is. Okay, so give it to me, Peggy.
It is the easiest way to get there is my.timebender.world. It's all lowercase, my.timebender.world. And then you sign in and then you're there. I have another link that will take you to like a video and everything, but
all right.
But that, yeah.
TikTok. She said, I agree. I agree about the TikToks. Oh, it's my
crazy.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, people. See, now I told myself, Gwendolyn, don't try to do like this real well thought out thing. This is one of those times when we just, like, as you said, grab your wine, your whiskey. I had mine today. And just like ride it out. Because that's what we end up doing whenever I talk to Peggy. We just get into some things. But they're so good. They're so good. And that's the beauty of creating genuine relationships with people and really getting to talk to people without the idea of what can I get from them, right? Right? Think about that. I was telling my husband the other day as we were traveling to Houston that, if you look at your circle, as you mentioned, if you're the smartest one in that circle, it's not a bad thing, but you need another circle.
You need another circle.
You need another circle. If you're like, because it's great to pour into people, but someone also needs to pour into you as well. So
if you're the smartest person in your circle, you start getting this little, like, you change. I know. That's why I tell my husband, I was like, the first time I start getting a little like, you just remind me like that I ain't that smart.
But that QR code, that's a good idea there, Peggy. That's a good idea.
I know we're running short on time. Do I have one more story? Do I have time for one more story?
Give it to us.
So my dad, amongst many other things, he built show cars and he had a auto body shop. And so in the 70s, a lot of people that hung out there were not men really behaving themselves in a proper way, right? There was the posters, the car posters with the, the whole thing. That's where I grew up, right? And, from time to time, comments would be made or whatever. And I remember my dad telling me one time, he was like, Peggy, if a man tells you that you are wonderful and amazing, just know that he told 12 other women that before you. So don't you be the one idiot that believes that you're something special. Oh my God. Now that's a two-edged sword. Like that really, like
it is.
Like, I get a compliment and I'm like, okay. It does mess with your self-esteem, but also it's really true. Like you got to remember, like, there's always someone better than you out there. Don't think that you got it all. Like, think that, hey, I want to know more. I want to learn more. I want to see your point of view. Your point of view. It's different than my point of view. Your life experience is so different than my life experience. And I can learn something when I just listen.
Yes. Oh, see,
instead of assuming
that's the story to end this on, right? Like, and of course, this crew always has something. Oh, Danny was also raised with her dad's mechanic.
You know what I'm talking about.
My pops always gave us the inside scoop on what guys would say, and I was like taking the notes, like, let me write this down. Right. So yeah, I admit when guys would say something, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. So we're not easily swayed by comments and things. It's like, no, I don't think so. Yeah, very smart father. Hey, everybody, can we get some love for Peggy real quick before we end this amazing conversation? The time just flies by whenever we get together. Give her some hearts, give us some flames, give us some 100s in the comments, because Peggy did that, as she always does. And if you are a photographer, by all means, I highly suggest you join us at my.timebuilder.world. Timebender.world. I think I put it in there right. I did. Okay.
Timebender, and then you'll figure out why the name.
There we go. My.timebuilder.world. Yes. There we go. We would love to have you there. Right? Because it really is about
you guys so much. This is so fun. Thank you for having me.
We have a good time over here. We have a great time over here. There's so much to share. And if there's anything like you want to bring together a community of photographers, I am looking to bring people's genius to the world, right? And have a good cocktail while I'm doing it. What can I tell you?
And here, I didn't get the memo. Here I am stuck here with my water bottle, but that's all right.
We'll have to do this again. So I don't know why we want to.
It's a bit earlier on the West Coast than it is where you are. So I I try not to bring out the cocktails before 2 p.m. because that's 5 o'clock somewhere.
We don't. Okay, so first of all, can we all agree that having a mimosa or a Bellini is having a cocktail in the morning?
True. That's true.
Hello?
True.
Like people
That's
like be like, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. You had a mimosa at 9 o'clock this morning. You've already started. No one's judging. We're by no means judging. If you want to do cucumber water, I'm here for it. If you want to do your Bellini, we're here for it. Hey, each his own. We are not judging. So, but we should recognize like what's actually like happening here. It's like people, please. And what is that? A Bloody Mary, same thing. They're all on the. There's something else in there. Mm-hmm. There are some folks like to put a little extra shot of rum shata in their chai latte in the morning too, but I don't know those people. We don't know those people. So everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. Real quick, Peggy, how can they find you?
Find me at go to headshotstrategist.com and click on book a call. That's the best way to do it. Find me on LinkedIn, Peggy McCartha. There's a button there that says book a call. And jump on. I would love to spend 15 minutes getting to know you. And if that went well, then we can keep talking.
Very much so. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this beautiful episode of Small Biz Bites. I am Gwendolyn G. R. Houston Jack. Enjoy your day. Thank you for watching another episode of Small Biz Bites with Gwendolyn R. Houston Jack, where we chat with other creatives and small business owners about their journey. And we also invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the GR Houston Jack YouTube channel, where you can get the latest and greatest.